Hello everybody, we're going to do a video today on shoulder exercises for prevention of shoulder injuries. I want to talk a little bit about some basic concepts first. The first one is on motion. Number one, we want to make sure that you don't lose range of motion. As your shoulder hurts, sometimes that can result in a loss of motion. If you notice that you're unable to reach overhead, across your body, behind your back, that's a sign your shoulder may be losing motion and getting frozen, and that would be a reason to see your doctor, certainly. The second thing with regards to motion is and prevention is that we want to make sure that the shoulder isn't in an awkward position or an extreme position. That's where it's most vulnerable to injury. So repositioning tasks so that they're below shoulder level with the arms closer to your side are going to be easier on your shoulder than if the arm is above shoulder level or in a twisted, rotated type of position. So motion is important. The second one we want to talk a little bit about is posture. The effect of head and neck posture can affect the shoulder. For example, from a side view, we like to see the ear, shoulder, and hip all in one line. As the head droops forward of that line, it produces load on the neck, but also on the shoulder. For example, I can only lift my arm to about here with my head forward. If I just reposition my posture, I'm able to bring my shoulder up through a full range of motion. So position of the neck and upper back affect the shoulder. We want to make sure shoulders are back and down, head is back. So from a side view, we're maintaining that good alignment as you're going through daily tasks or tasks at work. So that's some basics on range of motion and on position and activity. I want to cover a little bit now as far as basic exercises to do for the shoulder. There's kind of two general categories. One would be range of motion and stretching exercises. Two would be muscle strengthening exercises. So we're going to demonstrate the range of motion things first. And basically there's just a few simple stretches. The most simplest of which is just to actively move the arm through a full range of motion, roughly 5 to 10 times, making sure daily that you're able to go through a full range of motion. To the front, to the side, across the body, and then behind the back. Those are some basic sort of range of motion activities. A little bit more elaborate version of that would be to reach up overhead, come over and give a little boost with the other hand to help the arm reach up and behind the back. Again, reaching behind the back in this direction, aiming at the opposite shoulder blade, actively lifting up. You can even give a little boost with the other hand. And then the third motion is across the body, again coming up and giving a little boost with the other hand. Those are more vigorous stretches as compared to just the active range of motion. Another very simple technique is to use a stick or a golf club or a cane or something along those lines, and to help that arm get all the way up through its full range of motion, using a stick to apply some extra pressure. This is sideways motion, and this is frontways motion. And you can even work a little bit behind the back with the stick, just sliding up the back leg. So those are all examples of some real basic stretching exercises you can do for maintaining mobility in your shoulder and preventing shoulder stiffness and tightness from setting in. The other category of exercise we want to cover is muscle strengthening exercises. And there's a couple different ways you can do muscle strengthening exercises. One is with the use of rubber bands, and the other is with free weights. So we want to cover some of the rubber band exercises first. We have some tied off to the door here. These can be purchased at sporting goods stores, places like that. There's actually a wide variety of products available now, certainly a lot on the internet as well. We're going to cover just a few basic exercises. The first two here, the elbow is bent for, and this exercise is for strengthening of the rotator cuff muscles of the shoulder. Again, the shoulders, with all these exercises, we're in good head and neck posture, moving the arm through a full motion with control. Generally, these are 10 to 15 repetitions per set, 1 to 2 sets per exercise. This is external rotation. The opposite of that one is internal rotation. For internal rotation, here I'm pulling the band in towards my body. This is the same motion, but the band's in the opposite direction. This is internal rotation. The next one is pulling down. This is called shoulder extension. These are all basic rubber band exercises. Again, 10 to 15 repetitions per set. This is an exercise where you're pulling a rowing type motion, very useful for strengthening the shoulder blade muscles. Rowing. And the last one we'll cover, I'm going to switch hands to stay facing the camera, is sideways motion. And we're staying just about the shoulder level with sideways motion. Most common mistake here, not to let that shoulder shrug up. So you want to keep the shoulders nice and level, good posture again, very important as we go through the rubber band exercises. So this is an example of using a rubber band tied to a doorknob or so forth for doing some very basic shoulder muscle strengthening exercises. Again, maybe 2 to 3 times a week, 10 to 15 repetitions per set, 1 to 2 sets per exercise. And we're going to cover a little bit of free weight exercises next.